Welcome to today's Explainer. We're diving straight into some seriously fascinating material today, stuff that completely shifted how I think about artificial intelligence. Instead of just crossing our fingers and hoping the AI gives us something usable, we're going to explore how to become visionary directors, people who speak the exact, precise language of AI. We're diving into the art of high-fidelity prompting, and honestly, once you grasp these concepts, the way you generate visuals will literally never be the same.
But first, let's talk about the six-fingered elephant in the room. We've all seen those frustrating, bizarre glitches when starting out with AI visuals, right? You type in a prompt, you wait with bated breath, and out comes a masterpiece. Except your main character has an extra hand, or there's a car mysteriously hovering 3 feet above the pavement in the background. It feels totally random. It kind of feels like the AI is just broken. But here's the wild part. The AI isn't broken at all. It's actually doing exactly what it was told, or rather, what was left out.
And that brings us to an incredibly important concept, AI hallucination. The absolutely crucial point to remember here is that an AI model does not have an imagination, and it definitely cannot read your mind. It only reads your keywords. So when you give it vague or unspecific instructions, it panics. It starts guessing the missing details. That guessing process, that's what we call hallucinating. You get 6 fingers because the anatomy or the style wasn't clearly defined, and the AI just threw pixels at the wall to see what would stick.
Which leads us to a profound shift in mindset. Listen to this quote. The limit of your video is no longer your budget, it is your vocabulary. That is the ultimate prompt-first mentality. Think about it. In the traditional world, if you wanted a sweeping helicopter shot over a neon-lit city, you needed a massive budget, permits, a whole film crew, the whole shebang. Now, you literally just need the right words. Your descriptive power is your ultimate creative tool. If your vocabulary is limited, well, your visuals will be limited. It's really that simple.
So how do we upgrade that vocabulary? We use the secret sauce formula. The core philosophy shift here is simple but incredibly powerful. Stop writing sentences and start building structures. Beginners tend to text AI like they're texting a friend. Hey, can you make me a picture of a dog in a park on a sunny day? That's a sentence. Professionals don't write sentences, they construct highly structured, intentional blueprints.
And that blueprint is the VSCA framework, which brings us right to lesson 2 of our material. This is where things get truly actionable. The VSCA framework cleanly breaks down into a logical 4-step assembly line: view, subject, context, and art style. When you feed information to an AI in this exact sequence, you are no longer just making suggestions, you are giving direct, irrefutable commands. Let's quickly break down how this works. Okay, step 1 of lesson 2 is V for view or camera. Establishing where the camera is located is the very first instruction you must give your digital film crew. Before the AI even knows what it's looking at, it needs to know how it's looking at it. Are we doing an intimate close-up to capture emotion? A sweeping wide shot to establish the world? A dizzying drone view or a bird's-eye shot looking straight down? By defining the camera view first, you instantly anchor your image with professional cinematic framing.
Right, so once the camera is locked in, we move to S for subject. This is where you define exactly who or what is the absolute focus of your frame. And remember what we just talked about. Vocabulary is your budget. Don't just say a man, say a weathered old man with deep wrinkles. Don't just say a shoe, say a high-tech, futuristic sneaker with glowing laces. The more precise you are about your subject, the less the AI has to hallucinate.
Moving on to the next step. Let's see how this builds with C for context, or action. A perfectly described subject is great, but if they're just floating in a white void, well, it's boring. Adding action and environment brings your static subject completely to life. What are they doing? And where are they doing it? Are they sprinting through a neon forest? Are they quietly drinking coffee in a rainy, dimly lit cafe? This step anchors your subject into a living, breathing world.
Finally, we finished the lesson 2 formula with A for art style and lighting. This is the glue that holds the entire visual aesthetic together. Seriously, you can have a perfect camera angle, subject, and context, but if the lighting looks like a cheap daytime soap opera, the image fails. You need to detail the specific film style you want. Do you want it to look cinematic? Do you want the gritty grain of 35mm film? A vibrant Pixar style? Moody, high-contrast noir lighting? This is where you tell the AI what the final film stock should look like.
Now that our structure is in place, the source material introduces something really fun: specific vocabulary hacks that act as literal cheat codes for these AI models. Yes, cheat codes.
These are specific words that developers have trained into the systems to trigger their absolute highest-end rendering capabilities. Tacking these onto the end of your prompt forces the AI to abandon its basic, low-quality defaults and tap into its premium data.
To guarantee that professional quality, you can pull specific modifiers. For example, for realism, use phrases like shot on a 35mm lens, photorealistic, or natural skin texture. For lighting, demanding golden hour or volumetric lighting will instantly give your scene incredible depth. And for high-end tech, especially if you want that hyper-detailed 3D look, tell the AI it's an Unreal Engine 5 render, or rendered in 8K resolution. These words are absolute magic keys.
Okay, let's actually put this formula to the test. When we look at a direct side-by-side breakdown of an amateur workflow versus a professional one, it becomes incredibly clear why one produces a generic, forgettable image and the other produces something that looks like it literally belongs in a multi-million-dollar blockbuster.
Look closely at this comparison. On the left, we have the amateur prompt, a cool car in a city. We've all typed something exactly like that, right? The result is going to be incredibly boring, probably a blurry, weird-looking sedan on a gray street. Now look at the right, the pro prompt using our formula. Low-angle tracking shot, sleek matte black sports car, speeding through a rain-slicked Tokyo street at night, neon reflections on the hood, cinematic motion blur, 8K, photorealistic. Boom. That is an absolute aha moment. Same core idea, completely different vocabulary, resulting in a high-octane masterpiece.
But there's one more hurdle. What happens when you use the perfect VSCA prompt, but the AI still manages to sneak in a weird artifact or an ugly watermark? That's where the concept of the trash bin, or negative prompting, comes in. Almost every professional tool gives you a negative prompt box. This is the essential filter where you explicitly tell the AI exactly what not to generate.
The material suggests using a standard list of must-exclude trash words to keep renders clean. You absolutely want to filter out things like blurry, distorted hands, extra limbs, low resolution, watermarks, text, grainy, and cartoonish. Well, actually scratch that, unless cartoonish is what you're specifically going for. Dropping these into the negative prompt box acts as a safety net, dramatically reducing those amateur, glitchy artifacts in your final output.
So with the structure, the cheat codes, and the safety net all perfectly in place, the true test of this method is what's called the style swap. It's fascinating to see how taking the exact same subject and simply swapping out the art style keywords completely changes the emotional feel of the scene. It really proves that you are in the director's chair.
So, I'll leave you with a final challenge to think about. If you take a simple subject like a robot cat and use the VSCA formula from Lesson 2, how quickly could you make it look exactly like it was shot on a 1950s vintage film camera? And once you get it right, could you change only those art style keywords and instantly swap it to a hyper-detailed, neon-drenched Cyberpunk 2077 aesthetic? It is absolutely wild to experiment with, because when you control the words, you really do control the world. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you in the next one.